everywhere the devil leads the dance, he has entered into all, is the master of all. Christ is dishonored, thrust aside, the church is made no account of. Do ye not hear Paul saying, let filthiness and foolish talking and jesting be put away from you? He places jesting along with filthiness. And do you laugh? What is foolish talking? That which has nothing profitable. And do you, a solitary, laugh at all and relax your countenance? Thou that art crucified, thou that art a mourner? Tell me, do you laugh? Where do you hear Christ doing this? Nowhere, but that he was sad, indeed oftentimes. For even when he looked on Jerusalem, he wept. And when he thought on the traitor, he was troubled. And when he was about to raise Lazarus, he wept. And do you laugh? If he who grieves not over the sins of others deserves to be accused, of what consideration will he be worthy, who is without sorrow for his own sins, yea, laughs at them? This is the season of grief and tribulation, of bruising and bringing matter, the body of conflicts and sweatings. And do you laugh? Do you not see how Sarah was rebuked? Do you not hear Christ saying, woe to them that laugh, for they shall weep?
You serious?
Hello everyone. Today, I want to pose a question. Can religion be fun? Should religion be fun? Now I want to preface this by saying this is largely just going to be my opinion based on my own journey and relationship with spirituality. So please don't feel like you have to take anything that I say as being what you should do or how you should see things. What I hope for is to potentially help other people out there who may be struggling with the same type of latent Christianity that I had. Ocean Keltoy actually did a recent video on this, how we can carry Christian baggage with us even after we leave the faith, and I highly recommend checking it out. And while Ocean spoke more broadly, I'm going to focus in a bit on this specific piece of luggage I was still toting around. The idea that religion isn't fun. When I was a kid, I remember asking my dad, "Do you think God has a sense of humor?" His answer was simple, "Well, we love to laugh, so I would think that would mean God does too." And while I am no longer a Christian and have taken up the mantle of family disappointment, this conversation is something that has always stuck with me. My buddy John here seemed to think that laughter, though not inherently bad, often leads to sinful behavior and therefore should be controlled. After all, did Jesus laugh? According to John, Jesus was a sad boy, so that means the best Christians are also sad boys. Wake me up inside. Wake up! I get it. There's a time and place for everything. It's not always appropriate to be cracking jokes all the time. I don't think most Christians, modern ones anyway, rigidly believe that laughter leads to sin. Or at least I hope not. My dad certainly didn't. John Chrysostom was into asceticism, which is a way of life that renounces materialism and worldly pleasure for the sake of spiritual pursuits. And I want to point out that this isn't just a Christian thing. Ascetic ideas exist in other religions too, including pagan ones. It is just that in the context of how these remnants of Christian asceticism crept into my upbringing and understanding were not exactly the best fit for me. Despite what my dad told me, there was always this unspoken undercurrent that fun, laughter, humor, while they may have come from God, are not parts of worship or of serious or respectful spiritual behavior. And when I left Christianity, I carried this attitude with me, although I didn't realize I still had it. I don't want to spend too much time on how I left Christianity. That would take up an entire video on its own. But as a baby pagan, I definitely thought I had to be very no-nonsense about my beliefs. Partially because I wanted my beliefs to be taken seriously by others, and partially because I wanted approval from the gods and spirits. I didn't make a lot of jokes about my beliefs, I didn't appreciate light teasing from friends, I didn't laugh or smile while doing rituals, spell work, or offerings. And I want to make it clear, being serious is okay. I still take my practices very seriously. This hasn't changed. What I'm talking about is this outward performance of seriousness, which, while I was much happier as a pagan than a Christian, this attitude I held on to, it wasn't really me. I was making myself miserable for the sake of what I thought the gods wanted. This forced, solemn reverence eventually led me to a point where it made it difficult to feel connected with the gods. And as this was pretty discouraging, it also made it harder to gather the motivation to do rituals or offerings. It's difficult for me to pinpoint the exact moment when I changed my perspective on this, but learning about latent Christianity, hell, even just having a word for it, helped me quite a bit, as well as realizing that, at least from my perspective, how can I engage in a positive relationship with someone if I'm not my authentic self, even if that someone happens to be a god? Have you ever had a hard belly laugh? Do you remember the last time you had one? You can't fake that shit. If someone is laughing so hard that their stomach hurts, you know that's a glimpse of that authentic self. So why should we repress that? Why should we separate that from our worship? I think something else that taking fun and humor out of religion does is it actually denies the full complexity of the gods. Even if you're not an archetypalist and take on a hard polytheistic view like myself, it can be easy to just kinda imagine the gods as, ah yes, they do this one thing. But think about this for a minute. Do you just have one thing that you do? Or one or two basic personality traits? Of course not. So why would a god or a spirit be any different? As an example, in Norse mythology, there's a story about the goddess Skadi? Skothy?
Oh, you mean Skothy?
Yeah, that. Thanks, Katia. I knew I kept you around for a reason. As I was saying, her father had been killed by the Aesir, and so she shows up at Asgard looking for revenge, but the other gods want to atone and give her compensation. And one of the things that Skothy asked for as part of her compensation is for the gods to make her laugh. So Loki, being Loki, is like, "Hey, check this out." So he takes a goat and... Holy sh... Skadi thinks it's hilarious and accepts the compensation. I can picture her laughing so hard that her stomach hurts. Besides mythology, there are even deities that just straight up are all about fun, like Euphrosyne. Finding humor in our practices, in mythology, in the gods themselves, I think this is really important. It humanizes our experiences and makes the gods feel more approachable. If there's something you do that you think is kind of funny, or maybe there's a myth or a personal experience that makes you laugh, that's okay. After all, did Skadi laugh? In my opinion, life is tragic, but it is equally comedic, and ignoring one aspect for the sake of the other doesn't make sense to me. To me, laughter is divine. Our jokes, our giggles, our deep belly laughs, these things are not disconnected from the sacred, they are an expression of it. Fun and reverence are not mutually exclusive, and being silly doesn't make you less serious, or your connection to the gods less important. After all, if we love to laugh, I would think that would mean that the gods do, too. Thank you so much for exploring this topic with me. I hope I was able to spark some conversation, or at the very least, give you a laugh. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like or even subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.
Get this straight. You think that
religion
is funny?
I do. And I'm tired of pretending it's not.